Hi, I'm Courtney. One of the big takeaways for me from our critical issues course, Literature Engaging Life, was actually the social injustice faced by ex-cons and current inmates. And for me, that really started at the beginning of this semester with Jimmy Santiago's book, and it really continued through the whole semester with the several books that we read, as well as kind of at the end of the semester when we actually did our presentations. As a lot of research topics were actually over kind of different aspects of that social injustice and kind of the problems that are faced within prison systems. For me personally, my topic was prostitution, and I know in a lot of the studies I actually read, jail time was actually really kind of a deteriorating point for prostitutes. One specifically was an article by Odgers, Russell, and Robbins, and they actually really kind of did these studies on just prostitutes in prisons. And they found that a lot of them have high rates of mental and physical abuse. So, I like to think of prison as kind of like getting away from that abuse that prostitutes often face within their line of work. But in reality, that abuse just kind of takes a different form. So really, these women and men should be in rehabs, kind of building themselves back up. But they're in prison, and it's kind of giving them the opposite effect of what they actually need. So for me, for Jesuit values, I actually really look at this as care for the whole person, simply because, these are victims. Rather than prison, they do actually really need rehab. A lot of them are kind of facing rape. I know a lot of times prostitution isn't described as rape, but in reality, a lot of them are on drugs and on alcohol, and in states where prostitution is really the only job or source of income that they can get. So, they're really not in the best mindset to consent to sex. So, for me, I know I look at prostitution as just plain rape. But we don't think of it because prostitution is really kind of a deviant part of our society. So, unfortunately, that's where kind of Men and Women Forum with Others comes in, simply because, rather than sitting there and kind of putting it off as a taboo, I think that we can really kind of as a society come and kind of face it head on and kind of help these men and women who are in this situation that is really not the best for them. There's actually an article I found on Alternet that really talked about, why we throw prostitutes in prison when they do need rehab. And they actually talked about Illinois, which is actually one of the toughest states for prostitution laws. And they actually interviewed the Republican Senator Dale Ryder, who is incidentally a former prosecutor. And he said that within prostitution, it's kind of this case where the perpetrator is as much of a victim as they are a perpetrator. So for me, that really kind of shows that, one, care for the whole person as understanding their situation, and two, Men and Women Forum with Others as, this was a process that took them like 10 years and finally got prostitution down to simply a misdemeanor in hopes that this can really help women, as once they do have that felony charge, they can't go out and get work. That's on their record, and a lot of times simply just having a misdemeanor on your record, or just being able to see by employee kind of really dampens your choices for jobs and abilities and opportunities. So I actually had social injustice and inequality as a big main focus of both of my anthropology classes for this semester, so having it in my critical issues class also really helped, just because it kind of gave me that really holistic view of it, and it really just created a really well-rounded image for me. So, really helped.